Hello, this is Danny Raymond, the voice behind Ray's Guide. Wow, here I was. I'd written a whole script drawing on my experience as a retired architect and understanding how a majority of the life-saving building codes have to do with fire, preventing it, suppressing it, and escaping from it, to say that an actual fire in a structure would be more accurate and more scary if there were thick clouds of black smoke. And I was already ready to voice and edit that script when I thought I would listen to Star Citizen Live in case I wanted to add some thoughts about jump points. And then, right in the closing seconds, Jared went and added,
we didn't have all the smoke effects that the folks wanted. We saw a little bit of it at the end. We were able to get a little bit of it at the end. Smoke is there. It's gorgeous. It can obscure everything. It makes fire 10 times more scary. We'll let you discover that on your own when you get to tech preview and stuff.
So, back completely to the drawing board on that script. But as realistic as the flames look, how much extra smoke would be realistic? Frankly, a lot. As they correctly pointed out, much of what is burning on a spaceship, or really any structure made out of metal rather than wood, are plastics, coatings, paints, cushions, insulation, storage, etc. And none of these things burn cleanly. In fact, the most common thing that's going to kill you in a building fire are the noxious fumes. So, with the caveat that there is a lot more smoke coming, their description of how fire starts, how it spreads, how it looks, etc. was good and accurate, with one presumption. And their depiction of fire extinguishers was also accurate with the same one presumption. But it did make me wonder what sort of fire extinguisher it was. It looked a bit like ABC powder type, but since it was recharged automatically if the life support system was working, I'm going with compressed carbon dioxide. Another good choice, well suited to electrical fires. Now, they mentioned that a very good way to snuff out a fire, apart from the fire extinguishers, is to just vent the room into space and remove the oxygen. But there is also another very effective way on a Star Citizen spaceship to greatly slow down a fire, potentially completely extinguishing it, and that is to remove the gravity. Yes, the gravity. And that is the one presumption that I was mentioning earlier, that the flames and smoke look good on a spaceship that had gravity. Fire behaves very differently in zero-G, and if you don't think I know what I'm talking about, let's hear from somebody who clearly does.
If you're in zero-G, a fire basically puts itself out. So think about it. When you burn a candle on Earth, so you light the wick and it stays lit. The fuel is the wax. The oxygen continually comes in because it heats the air around it and the air rises. Hot air rises, and fresh air comes in from below and has fresh oxygen. So the candle will stay lit until it burns all the way down. In space, if you light a candle, you can light the candle. It'll heat the air, but the air will not know where to go because it's not lighter than everything because it's in zero-G. It'll stay clustered around the candle. The candle will use up all the oxygen in that bubble, and then it'll put itself out.
So, to summarize, in zero-G, hot air doesn't rise, and so the air surrounding the fire gets exhausted of its oxygen and starves the flame. Ironically, thus in zero-G, the worst thing to do is to hit it with a fire extinguisher, because this would be stirring up the air inside the cabin and thus bringing fresh oxygen and air to the fire. It's a little bit like how you can douse some fires with water, but not electrical or liquid fires. So, presuming that there isn't an entirely different set of mechanics and particle effects waiting in the wings for zero-G fires, what could CIG do that could still be part of a 4.0 or even a 4.1 or 4.2 release? Well, one potential would be to treat turning off the gravity the same as evacuating the space to vacuum, which is instant extinguishing. But that is equally not realistic. A more realistic solution would be to immediately reduce the flames to the smoldering state that they mentioned in the video, and to keep them there as long as the gravity was off. Turning the gravity on would then have the effect of allowing the fire to resume. The other thing that they would need to do is to make accurate zero-G fires would be to change the way in which the smoke that they're going to be adding behaves. Just like heat and flames, smoke does not rise in zero-G and thus would sort of spread out in a sphere from the source. Because even if warm air doesn't rise in zero-G, it does expand. So, since I had to rewrite this script entirely as a result of the Star Citizen Live on Jump Points, particularly since the two big questions that were asked in the community were the same ones that I had covered in my prior video: what to do about campers at the entrance and exit. And the first thing I noted was how much, only a few months before this has to be delivered and even less before it needs to go into testing, so much was still not fully decided. This is concerning. Specs should be frozen at this point. It also struck me that they were going with a soft hand, and they kind of explained why, in that within CIG there were persons who loved PvP mayhem and hostility, and those who preferred PvE cooperation, and their internal decision-making includes both viewpoints. The problem, though, one that has stung them in the past, is that a different kind of player that doesn't exist at CIG and even doesn't exist in Evocati. Nobody at CIG wants to ruin Star Citizen, and nobody among the Evocati want to break the system because Evo builds are already well broken enough all on their own. So, for example, let's go back to the old school pad rammers. Are they PvP? Not really. The other P was either very far away or not in a position to really do anything. It doesn't even count as PvE because the E wasn't really putting up any challenge. Another example would be the people, when there was a cargo duplication exploit, who were just sitting there at the cargo terminal selling the same Herc load of cargo over and over again. Was that PvP? Was it PvE? Was it in any respect at all playing? It was just, look at me break the economy, ha ha ha. And that is why this sort of player is so hard to do anything about. Because all the usual levers that game designers can pull, game credits, reputation, crime stat, etc., are irrelevant to them. If they see an opportunity to ruin the game, either generally or for individuals, then that is their fun and all that matters to them, and thus they must be either neutered or eliminated. Now, will the steps that they outline be enough that those eager to screw up everything for everybody won't take a hold? I would be fine if it did, but my gut says that the more severe steps that they hinted at may well be needed. But now on to our ship giveaways. And of course, we still have the See You at CitizenCon giveaway to help cover all those expenses of going to Manchester, including giving away a Hull C, that colossal cargo container carrying craft. Plus, we have our regular Grow the Channel ship giveaways for the Zippy Zazzy Zaftig Zephyr, the Zeus 2 cargo, which we are just waiting on the subscriber goal for, as well as the marvelous multiplayer multi-role mining meta, the Arasta. 1 entry per video. Be a member for automatic entry with each video, or subscribe and comment, somehow including the secret word. And the secret word for this video was what we will be seeing a lot more of when the fire system goes live. Fly safe, keep it real, and I'll see you in the verse. This is Daniel Raymond with Ray's Guide.